I make good money, but I have nothing to show for it. Does that sound familiar? Or you've been making more money than you ever have before, but you still feel financially stuck in the same place, if not worse, from when you were making less money before the Lord blessed you and entrusted you with the increase. That is confusing. There's a lot of tension there, and I know it because I've been there, and it gets super confusing. And maybe we start blaming the wrong thing, especially as high performers, or we're trying to look around and figure out what's going on here. Not from a victim mentality, but from an ownership perspective, and I respect it. And you're telling yourself, I'm making good money. I'm making more money than I ever have before, and things should be fine, but they aren't. So you start to blame yourself, which again, I respect. We're looking for accountability. We're looking to create awareness of what's actually going on. And I respect it because for many reasons, but for one, because it's not rooted in victim mentality where like you're blaming everything else, other people. You're trying to take ownership. You're trying to take accountability over what's going on. And so I definitely respect that and understand where that's coming from. But I think that could be a little tarnishing for us making true change and becoming great stewards of the money that the Lord has entrusted us with. Most high earners have built their success through discipline in many other arenas of their life, whether that be their career, whether that be their business, whether that be their marriage, their relationships, academics, athletics, whatever that may be. But what I have found is that even if you've been disciplined and successful in a lot of areas of your life, most times it does not just naturally transfer over to money management. Just because you were great in your career, are great in your career, great at athletics, great student, right? A great husband, great wife, whatever you are performing at a high level in other facets of your life, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't just naturally carry over to financial management. It must be taught. Financial management is a skill that must be taught. It must be taught the right way. It doesn't just automatically transfer. And I understand this struggle because I don't know if I've made that confusion with my finances before, but I definitely have with my marriage. You know, I often ask myself, I'm a 7-figure business owner, but am I a 7-figure husband? And I've made the mistake thinking that like, just because I'm good at other things, whether that be finances, my business, athletics, public speaking, whatever that may be, I've made the mistake that it's just going to naturally and automatically transfer over into my marriage. And that has really hindered me as being the best husband I can possibly be. And especially because I was never taught that. I didn't have a great example of that growing up. And so that could be so super relatable for when it comes to our finances as well. So simply put, you can be excellent at earning, usually as a byproduct of being very disciplined in your career, your business, or your craft. But that doesn't mean that you've ever been taught what to do with the money once you earn it. And I promise you, that is not a character flaw. That is a systems gap. And so as we move on, like I just want to talk through like what is the actual problem and solution here. As I said before, like there's nothing wrong with you. It's not like you're lacking discipline, right? You're not broken, right? You're not to blame in most instances. More money has never once fixed a missing system. More income doesn't fix the problem. It just gives the problem more money to work with. I always say if you're taught by the right person with the right systems, with the right intentions in mind, you'll be very successful at financial management, just like you are successful in discipline with everything else that you do in life. 3 things that probably happened to you, if not a combo of all 3 of them leading up to this, particularly when you hear the word system, right? Particularly when you hear the concept of financial management, you're probably like, you're falling into one of these buckets, if not a combo of all 3 like myself. Number 1, you just were never taught how to manage your finances well. And so how do you expect to be successful at something that doesn't come naturally to anybody if you were never taught on how to do it? Perfect example here. This past weekend, I was at a church event. We were doing outreach in the local community, and we went up and set up like a lemonade stand and, got underneath this pavilion, and, we're just, inviting people to learn about Christ and come to our church. And it was an awesome event. And before I blew my hamstring, which is a topic maybe for a different episode here, if you will. But there's a way less contact sport going on, which was the game of chess. I blew my hamstring running sprints. It was so stupid. So I'm not even having my video editor cut this one out. We're gonna leave that in here. But before we were running sprints, before I blew a wheel, there was chess being played underneath the pavilion, and somebody asked me to play, and I was like, I have no idea how to play. I've never been taught how to play chess before. And so chess is one of those things that's same thing as money management. It doesn't come naturally, right? Like you don't just wake up one day and know how to play chess, and let alone be very good at chess, right? You have to be taught how to do it. And so if I tried to play chess that day against somebody, I was going to get terrible results. Why? Because I was never taught how to do it. Same thing with finances. A lot of us were just never taught how to manage finances well or at all. And we're wondering why we're not getting very good results. So let that chess analogy land home without my hamstring story distracting you. Second bucket here is you were shown a poor example of money management. And so I saw this growing up where my parents made a lot of money, but they managed it really poorly, and it led to several bankruptcies and a lot of hurt and unnecessary trauma for my family and I. And to be honest with you, I still struggle, from the trauma that we went through, but I also still show signs of those poor money management habits that I was taught growing up. And I know it sounds crazy because of the company that I own and the things that I do and the people that I've helped and the success that I've had, but I still struggle each day, and particularly because I was shown poor money management habits that the Lord is still working out of me. And so I still see them, show up every day throughout the week, and I keep laying them at the Lord's feet to continue to deliver me from them. But I was shown a poor example of that, and I'm sure some people listening to this can relate. Or, which might be the most dangerous one because it sounds responsible, and this one is where we really get to blaming ourselves, is you were given the wrong system that wasn't built for real life. Right? There's a lot of systems out there that just aren't quality systems, where like you've been on a system, maybe it worked for somebody else, maybe it's a popular one out there in the world, or there's been results from it, so this one's a lot more dangerous because you just start getting to blame yourself as a result of not having success with this system or systems that are out there. Basically, you tried budgeting before, I've tried this method before, I've tried this app before, and it didn't work. This is where that gets dangerous, because then you become hopeless, and you also think that you are the problem, when most times it was just the wrong system. It was a suboptimal system. And after doing this for 7+ years and seeing everything that's out there, there are a lot of very suboptimal systems. Good intentions, but really poor unintended consequences of these systems not being built for real life. Simply put, money management is a learned skill like any other skill. The reason it feels like nothing is happening in your situation, though you're making a ton more money, though you're making good money, it isn't a lack of income. It's the absence of a system that tells the money where to go before it disappears. Or like I like to say as well, before emotions even get involved. It is not an income issue. It is a gap when it comes to a lack of a system that tells the money where to go before it disappears, or before the emotions get in the driver's seat and start making the decisions for you. And so think about this analogy, right? Picture a bucket, right? A bucket that has holes in it. You can keep pouring more water in, right? The water being the income. Keep making more money, making more money, making more money, or pouring more water into this bucket. But if the bucket has holes, the water level is never gonna rise. It just leaks out as fast as it comes in. The fix was never pouring more water or having more water, it was patching the holes. Same thing with income. The holes are the lack of systems. You can keep making more money, but it's gonna go out as fast as it comes in because of those holes. And the solution is not to make more money. The solution is to patch the holes, which would be implementing a quality system that works for you and your life, but most importantly, aligned with biblical principles. So that's the truth here. What's really holding you back? It's not you. Even if you've tried other systems before, it most likely is the system. We've got to patch the holes instead of pour more water. And we got to stop blaming ourselves as well. I want to talk to you about what a real quality system looks like. As I mentioned earlier, we'll talk through this a little bit. A real quality financial management system only takes 1 to 3 minutes a day. It should be simple, not extremely strenuous, not taking you hours a day. I always say finances shouldn't be quantum physics. You should be able to have a system that only takes 1 to 3 minutes a day that gets you best results. Also, it should allow you to live your life and make financial progress at the same time. A lot of times, financial systems, when you're on one, but it's a suboptimal one, it feels like punishment. It feels like handcuffs. It has this scarcity energy to it. And so that's not the way that we want to go about a system. We want a system that gives you balance. It shows you what you need to do to be able to live your life a little bit while making financial progress or accomplishing your financial goals at the same time. And if you are to sacrifice, we always tell our clients this in the Good Steward program, if you are to sacrifice, it needs to be from strategy, not scarcity. We need to cut this out so we don't lose the house. We need to cut this out because we're going to be poor. We need to cut this out because we're going to lose everything, right? Like that's just scarcity, and I struggle with it, so I understand where that comes from. But sacrifice from strategy is, okay, I'm going to cut this out of the budget because it's going to save me $200 a month, and if that happens, I'm able to pay off my debt 6 months faster. Or if I sacrifice out of strategy this line item and this dollar amount, it's going to help me build my emergency fund 10 months faster. Also, a quality financial system shouldn't increase your stress and anxiety. anxiety, it should massively decrease your stress and anxiety, because the majority of people's financial stress and anxiety comes from subjectivity or a lack of clarity, right? Just not understanding what's going on, not feeling like they're in the know of their finances. And so when you have a lack of clarity, your mind starts to fill that lack of clarity with anxiety and stress. And so the right system doesn't decrease or doesn't increase your stress and anxiety. It decreases it for many reasons, but the main one is because it actually gives you clarity to understand what's going on in your finances. And lastly here, it gives you a structure to give every dollar a job before it's spent to eliminate waste. We must give our money a mission, and a quality system gives our money the mission. Your money must have a mission, because if it doesn't, it's going to get spent erroneously. It's going to get burnt. It's going to fall through the cracks, right? It's going to, come in and go out as fast as it came in. So when you have a system that assigns every dollar a job from an abundant standpoint, from a way that glorifies God, not out of scarcity, but out of faith, trust, and abundance, that's when you ultimately start to get best results. So it should only take 1 to 3 minutes a day. It should allow you to live your life and make financial progress at the same time. If you're sacrificing, it should be from strategy, not scarcity. It should massively decrease your stress and anxiety, because the biggest thing that gives you stress and anxiety around your finances is a lack of clarity, and a quality system gives you that simple clarity that you need. And lastly, it assigns every single dollar a job, so you stop wasting money and or having it fall through the cracks and being like, I make all this money, but I've got nothing to show for it. Here's the real solution. I always say you can't improve what you're not measuring or what you're not facing. When we work with clients inside of the Good Steward program, a beautiful quality system like this is not like a bonus add-on feature that we work on later. This is the system that is the foundation. We work on this immediately, because everything else in the Good Steward program, saving, paying off debt, investing, giving, all of that is built on this foundation. Those are all goals. We need the system to allow us to not only have these goals, but make them happen in the fastest, cheapest, most stress-free and trustworthy way as possible. And so this reminds me of one of my clients. She's my girl. Her name's Angela. She'd be fine with me sharing this story, but before she came to the Good Steward program, she was a very high earner. She was making multiple six figures a year, and she was stressed out all the time, right? She was never home. Her marriage was hurting a little bit. She was constantly grinding, and she literally, worst part of this, she had nothing to show for it. She had nothing to show for it. No savings, debt that was high, no assets, no investments, right? And still felt stagnant, still felt the same exact financial stress and stuckness, if not more, than when she was making less money. Now, 12 months into the Good Steward program, she's making less than she was when before in that situation when she was making multiple six figures. But she has way less stress, right? Because she has the clarity from a quality financial system. And she also has way more money in the bank, less debt, and more investments, all while making less. What was the difference? She stopped blaming herself. She kept making good money, even though she was making a little bit less. But most importantly, she found the real solution, right? Which was a quality system that works for her real life, all rooted in biblical wisdom. She didn't have much financial experience before. She, quote unquote, wasn't a numbers person, failed at budgeting multiple times before, had been very successful career-wise and in many other areas of her life. But the true difference was made when she realized what the real problem was, and it wasn't her, it was a lack of system, and then implemented the right system taught by the right person with the right intentions in mind, and boom, so many tangible and intangible results and wins. And I always love to root things in the scripture, because that is what is most important here. I said biblical principles multiple times, biblical wisdom. So one of my favorite pieces of scripture is Proverbs chapter 27, verses 23, verse 24. And it says, "Know well the condition of your flock and pay attention for your herd, for riches do not last forever." And so back in these times, your flock and your herd were your wealth. Solomon is teaching, or he's the author of this book, but God is teaching through Solomon in this book that it's one thing to make good money. It's one thing to have wealth. But what God is calling us to do is to know what is going on with our money by being close, good, quality managers of it. Solomon isn't promising that money itself lasts on its own. He's actually saying the opposite. Wealth never manages itself. So wisdom actually means paying attention to what you have, not just working hard and hoping it holds together and covers up and solves all of your other problems by just working hard and making more money. Actually, money just magnifies what's already there, definitely from a character standpoint, but also from a system standpoint. If you've got holes in your foundation, if you've got holes in your bucket, if you lack a system or you're on a suboptimal system, making more money is just going to magnify that lack, magnify those holes, magnify those gaps. But if you've got a quality system where the foundation is strong, rooted in wisdom, with a quality financial system like the one that I just described earlier, more money is just going to magnify that as well, which becomes a beautiful thing. And that's where real wealth gets built. That's where all of your unnecessary and avoidable stress and anxiety around money goes away. And that's where we stop missing opportunities and instead building wealth by managing money the way that God calls us to do so. And so that's the exact gap for someone earning well but feeling like they have nothing to show for it. The money was never the problem. The attention was, as this scripture would say, or what we're talking about today, the lack of a quality system was. And so again, you disciplined people, you successful people listening to this, thinking that you're the problem because you think that your success and the discipline that you applied in other arenas of your life should just naturally roll over to finances. That never is the case. Financial management is a learned skill. I want you to hear that today. You are not the problem. Though there may be some responsibility and accountability to take, right? And I do respect that. I promise you, once you're taught finances by the right person with the right intentions in mind, with the right system that is very proven, you'll be very successful at financial management like you have been with many other things in your life. If this is you, you're not behind. You just haven't had the right systems yet. This is exactly what we walk people through inside of the Good Steward program. It's a very proven program that's been around for 7+ people, and close to 1,000 people have went through it. And while we aren't perfect, I always say our program is your mirror. You get out of it what you put into it, and we have a ton of data that shows if you step up and play your part, you will get not just incredible results, but life-changing results. We've seen people drastically transform their finances in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, not just for this lifetime, but for generations to come. And I promise you, if you've been successful and disciplined in other areas of your life, you can do it in your finances. And in a year from now, you can be in a drastically different spot. But it's going to take you stepping up, playing your part, and ultimately understanding that more money is not the solution, right? That yes, you're making more money than you ever have. And the reason why you're not seeing any of it, the reason why you're still stuck financially, isn't a you issue, it's a systems issue. And so let us help support solving that issue. So if you're watching this, you're still with me, use the link in the description of this video to book your free consultation with the Good Steward program. And so we'd be more than happy to help you when it comes to your financial goals and giving you the right system that will ultimately lead to the success that you've been praying God to show you the way to. I appreciate y'all coming to this. I hope it was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.